Hi everybody, and welcome to Ecophysiotherapy Presents Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle. My name is Madeline Golick, and I'm the owner of Ecophysiotherapy, as well as the pelvic floor physiotherapist here. So today I'm going to be doing a solo presentation, and I'm going to be doing it on a topic that might surprise you a little bit. I'm going to be talking about resistance, and you're probably going to be like, huh? We'll get to that in just a short moment. And I'll explain kind of why I decided to talk about this topic. But before we get started, I just wanted to highlight some books that it really influenced this talk, as well as influenced the way that I overcome my personal resistance. So the first book is called The War of Art: Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Creative Battles by Steven Pressfield. And the techniques I use to try to overcome my inner battles is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. Okay, so let's talk about what this resistance thing is. So Steven Pressfield is the one that kind of brought this idea forth, and he calls it an energy. It's something that's within ourselves. It's like a negative repelling force that keeps us from living out our heart's desire. You can't see it. You might feel it as a bodily sensation, or an inner voice that disguises itself as thoughts that go on in our mind. We all experience this energy at some point in our lives, and it's kind of like the voice that gives you all the reasons why you shouldn't do something. So resistance oftentimes shows up in our lives whenever we need to do something that has a delayed gratification. So for example, like starting a diet. We know that getting the full health benefits of eating well is something that happens over time, and it's something that's part of our journey. It's something that we do, and it's hard. It's hard to eat well and do the right things for our health because we don't see those effects right away. So again, another example might be like starting to get fit. We know where we want to go, but it's like, getting started and staying on track is so hard. And other examples might include like starting a company, or deciding to get married, or deciding to have children, overcoming an addiction, making the choice to change careers, launching that product you've been working on. Or it can even be as simple as, having the resistance against doing personal journaling, or painting that picture that you want to paint but are worried it's not going to turn out good and that it'll be a waste of time. So that's oftentimes when resistance shows up. And so now I want to talk about where does resistance actually live? So we certainly experience it in the present moment, but resistance comes from our past. So we have all these past experiences that we can think about consciously, but there's also past experiences that are deeply rooted into our unconscious mind. And these experiences can sometimes really sabotage us because it can get us sort of talking ourselves out of doing something, but it's oftentimes rooted in something in the past. Or resistance works really well in the future. So when we start our thought process in the future and get caught up in the what if stage, that really creates a lot of energy that creates that resistance from us taking the first step. So the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I'm certainly not immune from my own personal resistance. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of examples when this energy has showed up for me. So, for example, doing my master's degree in physiotherapy. I didn't come from a science background. I was actually coming from a social science background, and I was really concerned about my ability to keep up with all the other students who had, a strong science background. And I was just really hard on myself initially in terms of like, can I get through this program? And am I going to waste my time? Am I going to waste my money? And so I had a lot of resistance, even, filling out the application, a lot of debating back and forth whether or not I wanted to actually do this. And I'm certainly super happy that I did. And of course, I came out on the other side. So that's, resistance, really can play really good tricks on us, and it can really prevent us from doing the things that we want to do. And then, it showed up again when I wanted to specialize in pelvic health. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, how will I actually launch this new service, and what is it going to look like, and what if I don't have all the answers? So playing that what if game. So for me, my resistance is very, very future based. I always play the what if game, and with 101 reasons why I shouldn't do something. Even starting my YouTube channel, I mean, it was when I read the book by Steven Pressfield, The War of Art. That was the moment I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to start my YouTube videos. I wanted to start off with a pregnancy series because I was pregnant at that time. And, thankfully I was under some pressure, as in like, if I'm going to do these pregnancy videos, I really need to do them now because I'm 27 weeks pregnant already. So reading the book and just taking the plunge just has so changed my life, and I absolutely love doing these videos for everybody. But I had been thinking about those videos for quite some time before I actually just took the plunge. So those are a couple of examples of how resistance has shown up in my life, and certainly I have a long list of other ones as well. Even doing this presentation, I get nervous before I start filming. I always worry, like, what if nobody what if nobody listens? What if I have nothing of value to provide? So I have those thoughts that are happening before the presentation actually begins. And I also have the bodily sensations that come with it. So the clammy hands, like right now, if you were to touch my hands, they're pretty cold right now. Tensing in my throat. Sometimes I get caught up in my words. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay that I feel these things, and it's okay that I have these thoughts. Certainly they don't necessarily go away. It's just the more I practice these techniques that I'm going to talk to you about, the less effect, the less hold it has on me. So, okay, so like how do I combat my own resistance? So this is where the concept that comes in from the Power of Now book, which is be in the now. We're always either in the past thinking about, our previous failures or things that like didn't necessarily go right, and like, then what if it happens again? So then we jump from the past to the future. But very rarely do we actually bring ourselves to the present moment. So as I said, my hands feel clammy and cold. My heart rate's a little elevated. I'm a little nervous and stumbly with my words, but I'm being present with my body. I'm identifying and becoming aware of the thoughts and sensations in my body. And then I accept them. So that's where the radical acceptance from Tara Brach comes in. Is like, okay, so I have these thoughts, so I have these feelings. Great, none of them are necessarily happening right now in this present moment. Like, yeah, I may fumble my words in 1 or 2 seconds, but currently I'm able to string full sentences together and present this to you. So all those things that I'm worried might happen during this recording are actually not happening right now in this moment. So I accept the thoughts, I accept the feelings for what they are, and I then take action. So if you want to overcome resistance, and same thing with like overcoming fears as well, certain types of fears, you have to take action. So, if public speaking is something that's scary for you, which it is for me, I have to take the action to practice public speaking. And then that's how I begin to overcome, and the thoughts and the feelings that I feel don't have as much power over me anymore. So that's how I practice. So you have to take the action to overcome the resistance. You have to start the diet. You have to start the first exercise program. Be present in the moment, accept whatever your body's feeling as part of the process, and continue on. Okay, so you might be saying, well, how do I stay present in the now? So a couple of techniques that I like to use to help me ground myself into the present moment is pausing. Take a minute to just pause, right? Just before starting the camera, I just take a minute and I'm like, okay, I take that deep breath and I allow myself to get myself here and now getting ready to present to you. I use mindfulness. So mindfulness is simply bringing your awareness, right? Bring your awareness to your body, bring your awareness to your breathing. Sometimes I use gratitude. So to be in the present moment, I might say to myself just before, I'm so grateful that I'm able to share these ideas with you. Other people might use mantras or affirmations or motivational quotes just before to help them get the right set of energy to proceed forward. The other thing you can do is use essential oils as well. That combines the pausing, combines the breathing, combines the mindfulness, and you just take a minute to smell the oils and just bring yourself into the present moment. Okay. So that's kind of like in the short term, bring yourself into the now, but certainly there's other work that I do from a long-term perspective. So one of which is sometimes you need to talk to other people. Sometimes you have to get the thoughts and work through some of the feelings that might be more in the unconscious level. So, whether it's, a psychologist, therapist, counseling, psychotherapy, all those things can be really helpful for personal development, right? Helping to work through and be able to see the forest from the trees. Meditation. I meditate every single night. I use the Headspace app. I love it. It gives me a reminder when it's time for me to meditate, and I take the time to get myself practicing how to be present in the moment. And I can tell you, I'm not successful all the time. My mind wanders all the time. That's why that's why it's a practice. I do different breathing techniques. I do body scanning and exercise. So I try to take a holistic lifestyle approach to helping myself overcome my resistance. But I want to give you guys a technique that I saw in a presentation that's really, really been helping me. It's a technique that Tara Brach, it's her acronym, and the acronym is RAIN. So I want you to think about RAIN, okay? So the R stands for recognize. So recognize, what are your thoughts, feelings, and sensations? What's happening to your body right now in this moment? From there, the A stands for allow. Whatever it is that you're feeling, thinking, sensing, allow it to be present without judgment or without trying to wish it away or without trying to change it. Just acknowledge it and allow it to be present. Let it sort of like run its course, right? Without that judgment of it. The I stands for investigate. So as you're experiencing this, connect deeper with kindness and gentleness. What can you learn about yourself, right? Why are you having these thoughts? Why are you having these feelings? Why are you having these sensations? And try to understand yourself better. Okay, I wonder where this is coming from. And that can be helpful in moving forward and, again, personal development, discovering more, connecting with yourself. And then the last letter is the letter N, and that's for not identified. So she says liberation when you don't identify yourself. She calls it the unworthy self. Stephen Pressfield calls it resistance, but approach with loving kindness and awareness. You are not your thoughts and sensations. So that what I get from that is that just because you have these thoughts of like, what if this all happens? You know, what if I don't succeed? What if I, you know, what if I flop? What if this, you know, what if this presentation doesn't go well? And learning to kind of not identify yourself with those thoughts, because deep inside, I love presenting. I love sharing information with people, and I know I'm an educator. That's my true essence. And so if I can just be present and not necessarily identify myself with all of these negative thoughts and emotions, then I am free. And so I hope that this technique kind of gives you something that you can work with. And I highly suggest that, you know, if you have a lot of resistance, it's okay to also ask for help. Get help from, you know, a counselor to help you find the right techniques that helps you work through your resistance. And I assure you, it's worth it, right? You know, eating healthy is worth it. Getting good exercise is worth it. Doing something that you're passionate about is worth it. You're worth it. So on that note, I want to thank you for listening to me, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.